Immediately after Ultimate Custom Night's release, people were racing to complete it as fast as possible. But unlike with FNaF 3, where within 24 hours there was no new content left to be discovered, it instead took 2 weeks for someone to complete the game, and on July 8th, Remery would complete 50/20 mode.
Oh shit, no. No. Oh my god! Oh! Oh! Holy shit! Oh my god! Oh my god! No! No! Holy shit! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! No! Oh my god!
Then just hours later, Dawko would also complete it, although his run would be much more popular as he was already an established creator.
Oh my god! Are you kidding me? Oh my... Oh shit! Oh god, guys! Oh fuck! Oh! Oh god!
Speaking of Dawko, this is the end of the Reddit post I was using for all of the dates of the teasers in parts 1 and 2. From now on, I'll be relying on Dawko's upload dates, which should be within a day or so of the official releases of the teasers. Regardless, on March 11th, we would receive this teaser. Interestingly, this teaser was taken down the same day it was posted because the teaser contained unlicensed and unpermitted use of fan art for some of the models. Regardless, people discovered these through the source code, somehow. The first one shows off Baby walking while you're in the FNaF 4 bedroom closet. The second shows off Springtrap standing outside of the FNaF 3 office, then Chica and Agasha, getting sprayed by chemicals, a picture of Bonnie missing an eye, then, this teaser is the hardest to make out. It appears to either be a security guard or an endoskeleton, although we still don't really know what this is. We also got a picture of Freddy. On March 25th, we would receive a trailer that I'll talk about later. Then on the 28th and 31st of March, we would receive some gameplay footage. On April 16th, Scott would announce an official release date of May 21st, and on May 21st, the game was officially released. I have a whole video on my thoughts of the minigames within Help Wanted, but people loved the game because it's VR and it was 2019, so of course they did. Also, the lore! This trailer is alright. The initial segment is unsettling, but it's nothing special. On August 8th of 2015, 5 years after FNaF 1 was released, we would receive our first ever security breach teaser.
Why? 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 Why, oh god fucking...
We also got this on FNaF World, which is a website I haven't acknowledged exists yet, and it's pretty funny. Back on Scout Games, we got this teaser, and all it gave us was a better looking Grimlock Freddy, whose name hadn't been revealed yet. And then we got a teaser, which I will not show because there is an actual chance I will be demonetized. It does show Roxy for the first time, but I do not want to look at this any longer. Then we got the same Glamrock Freddy teaser, but with a silhouette of Vanny in the background. And then on November 25th, FNaF AR would be released, and I want to forget. On September 26th, the first of the Fazbear Frights books were released, and honestly, there's 11, and I will never read a single one. They also came with these teasers. But anyway, future Fazbear Frights books would come out on March 3rd, 2020, May 5th, July 7th, September 1st, December 29th, March 2nd, and it's 2021 now, by the way, May 4th, July 6th, September 7th, November 2nd, and April 9th, 2022. Anyway, back to what this video is about. Since a bit after Help Wanted was released, we entered what I believe to be the worst 2.5 years of this franchise, 2021 being especially bad. Before Security Breach released, it had been a full 2 years since the last FNaF game released, and some stuff with Scott happened that I'll talk about later. On March 24th, we got this teaser showing off Monty. On May 5th, we got a logo and a title release. On June 11th, we received a teaser showing Vanessa, and for once it's not a silhouette. And on August 7th, Vanny would be revealed. And I actually really like this teaser, unlike almost everything else about this game. And the next day, Roxy and Glamrock Chica would be revealed. And that is the last actual FNaF teaser. I am not kidding. On August 22nd, Scout would announce the fanverse, and it gave me 170,000 views, so my thoughts are entirely positive. At some point, Scout would announce that the game was coming in late 2020, which would rather be postponed a whole year. And on December 16th, Security Breach was released. It wasn't exactly well received, it was buggy as all hell, the mechanics were mid. For some reason, people think the graphics are good, but all of the animatronics looked like they were photoshopped in. This whole time, I've sort of avoided real discussion of the community aspects of these games, and its real effect on people. I've been more focused on the feelings towards the games as they're released, which is why I've made a tribute to Five Nights at Freddy's. The last time you clicked on a FNaF Let's Play was probably like 5 years ago, and I'm in the same camp too. I'd rather watch paint dry than another scariest game since the birth of Christ, FNaF episode 902. Today we're going to talk about how this indie horror game became one of my favorite franchises of all time, where it went wrong, and even after how god-awful the community has become, there's still a soft spot for it in my heart. Going back to the beginning, but not quite the beginning, Five Nights at Freddy's on iOS was released on September 11th, 2014. I'm not making another 9/11 joke in this series. I believe it was my brother who found the series before me, as I was still suffering from chronic piss for brains at that point, so I didn't care for the game, but since he had purchased the game, I could play it on my mom's iPhone 4 with a shattered screen. And I figured I had nothing better to do. I honestly don't remember much playing through the game from then. I remember much more about the community around the game, and talking about it with other people. I would talk to my friends, and one of them said they got Golden Freddy, and I was all surprised and thought it was so cool, even though it's like a 1 in 100 chance in a full playthrough, which isn't incredibly low, but I was a fucking kid then, so I didn't know what I was thinking. Some people have a lot of nostalgia for watching people's Let's Plays, but I was more interested in the lore and theory surrounding the game. And also top 10 lists. I would watch Let's Plays when the new games came out, but Smike, 8-Bit Gaming, Daco sometimes, and MatPat were my boys. Even though the Wheels on the Bus nursery rhyme lore probably would have been more captivating for me at that age, something about the FNaF lore caught my attention. But there's one other thing that I distinctly remember about the first few games. The songs. DA Games and The Living Tombstone were legends then. I remember singing The Living Tombstone's Five Nights at Freddy's 3 song with my friends at a playground at a campsite I went to. Not that I participated in it, but fan art was also incredibly common, my personal favorite being Rule 34. I'm not exactly sure why fan content was so prolific for FNaF especially. Maybe it was just how iconic the characters were, but I personally think it's the kind of people FNaF attracted. Whether it be in solving the lore in weird-ass ways or making a fan game, the FNaF community always had creative people in it. Obviously, more creative people were more famous, but I feel like even if it's some 2-year-old drawing Bonnie as a blue stick figure, the people in the community always were creative. To talk about fan games, there were the famous ones like Pop Goes, Candies, Flumpties, Treasure Island, and of course my favorite, Five Nights in Anime, but some forgotten games were still fun even if they aren't necessarily the best playing experience. Bonnie Simulator was one of my favorites, which the Baddest made a whole video on. As the FNaF series continued, I began to get a bit of a bad taste in my mouth about the whole series, and so did many others. We started seeing weird spin-offs and the great merchification of the franchise. And it seemed a lot of the fan base that was creating fan games, fan art, and what have you started to dry out or move on to bigger and sometimes better things. The game's lore since the first game had been on a decline, getting more and more complicated even if it was interesting. The series felt it was getting milked for every penny Scott could get out of it. Like, I remember playing FNaF 6 with my friend, and I had no idea what was going on because I hadn't played since, like, FNaF 4. This deal was sealed, though, when Ultimate Custom Night came out. Although it was a fine game, it proved that the series would keep going even when it had reached a natural conclusion. Maybe for money, or perhaps just because Scott didn't want to let go of this franchise that gave him a career. Regardless, at some point, Scott decided that Steelwolf Studios would take over a large amount of the development and gameplay side, while Scott would still be the main decision-maker for the series. As I said previously, 2020 and 2021 were arguably the worst years for Five Nights at Freddy's. Including AR, it had been a full 2 years since FNaF last released a game before Security Breach. But more importantly, in June of 2021, Scott Cawthon came under fire for donating to politicians who supported anti-LGBT and pro-life ideologies. Many people were rightfully furious. I probably could have talked about it when it was more relevant earlier on, but shortly after his donation controversy, Scott would update Scott Games to say, "This is a long one, so gear up." Before I say anything else, check out this awesome piece of fan art. Pretty amazing stuff, right? I have boxes and boxes of artwork like this from fans that I've saved over the years. I've tried to answer as many letters as I could, and I apologize to anyone that I missed somehow. Someday, when I have a bigger living room, maybe I'll make a giant collage of all the fan art I've collected. Stuff like this has made it all worthwhile to me over the last 7 years. I've had a blessed, fulfilling, and rich career. I've been shown great kindness, and I've tried to show great kindness in return. I've tried to make some good games, let the debate ensue, and I've witnessed the creation of possibly the most creative and talented fanbase on the planet. But here, on the 7th anniversary of the first game's trailer, as I realized I was in my mid-30s when I created the series and now I'm approaching my mid-40s, I realized that I miss a lot of the things I got to focus on before FNaF became such a success. I miss making games for my kids, I miss doing it just for fun, and I miss making RPGs even though I stink at it. All of this to say that I am retiring. I have been shown tremendous love and support over this last week, a lot of which has come from the LGBTQ community. The kindness shown to me has been surreal. Is this the end of FNaF? No, this just means someone else will eventually be running the show. Someone of my choosing and someone that I trust. We will have to wait and see how it all plays out. But an announcement will be made at some point. I have 6 kids now, although one of them is currently the size of a blueberry. I love them dearly and they're my whole world and my whole universe. I want to focus my attention on them, focus on protecting them, and spend my time making things for them. I only ask that my fanbase respect my decision. I will still be around, just not in the capacity that I used to be. What a blessed career I've had, what wonderful people I've met, and what a tremendous blessing to have been able to know all of you. Thank you so much. See you on the flip side. While some were happy with this and others not so much, what was important was that Scott was stepping down as the FNaF cult leader he had been for so many years. The weirdest part to me is that he still hasn't found someone to take over the series in the 14 months it's been since this was posted. Aside from Steelwolf, although it seemed like he was referring to one new face of FNaF, not controversy, some people would say this is where FNaF went wrong, but honestly I disagree. Sure, maybe Security Breach was terrible, and it was the first game after Scott quit, but it means that Steelwolf knew what they did wrong, and the next game will, hopefully, be better. Around the time of Security Breach release, I started to notice something. FNaF YouTubers were coming back, this time not as Let's Players and theorists, but as commentators and critics. The FNaF YouTube scene had new life breathed into it. However, I've heard people say it's back on the decline with all of the drama in the last few months, but I disagree. I think if us FNaF YouTubers keep innovating, push drama behind us, and just keep making stuff as creators, the FNaF fandom might just be able to be in a sort of new renaissance after the dark ages that has been the last few years. Regardless of if the FNaF community goes back to the old days or not, I think this series and the community has something of a future ahead of it, no matter what controversy occurs. I'll see you all later. Take care of yourselves.